Hello everybody, it is Glass Half Dead here, and today we're going to be talking about two things. Obviously, first, when there's news, there's views, that's right. It's the Critical Operations 2022 Close Quarters. Except, that wasn't news. They did not do a news article, they just stealth dropped it on us. That's fine, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Then we are also going to talk about the upcoming Kill Team Open and the little competition giveaway that I'm doing for that. To cut a long story short, you are able to win a very hefty, sizable dollar package VIP treatment badge from this channel. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. First things first, of course, if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a big subscriber-only benefit, and that is a big double hello. The wholesomeness truly knows no bounds on this channel. And hey, if you like that, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and a comment. And I think we know that this time the comment is going to be slightly different. If you watched the last video, you will know that the way that you can win this delightful Kill Team Open VIP package is to simply leave a comment below. Last time you had to say a key phrase. This time, you just have to leave a comment. That's fine. To cut a long story short, I'm going to be doing the draw very soon. On Christmas Day. That sounds like that's not going to happen, is it? Somewhere between Christmas and New Year, I'm going to go live on my Twitch channel and I'm going to do the total adding up of contestants, all of the entries, the comments from the previous video, all of the comments from this video, and then all of the extra comments from my patrons. All of those go into a big old number generator. I'm going to hit randomly generate number, and then I'm going to count through all of the comments until I get the number, and then I will contact that person. So go ahead, drop any comment you like, treat yourself, say whatever, say treat yourself. There you go. That's the phrase that you have to put in. What is Kill Team Open? Great question. I'm going to get back to that after we've talked about the Critical Operations 2022 Close Quarters. So going into this, I assume that you all know what this is, right? The Critical Ops deck, okay? I've already talked about this. Few things to say. So we're not talking about this deck, okay? We are instead talking about the free thing that has been released on Warcom. How do you get to this? You go to the download section, you go to the Kill Team section, and then you click on this, which brings you to this. This is available for all. It is, free download. Quick aside, if you like the balance data slate and want to know where you get more models, etc., and big changes that affect the entire game, it's also in the download section, so keep that in mind, along with the intercession squad. Cray cray. There's a lot in this. I'm going to keep it relatively generic and just say what I think the overall effect of this is, as opposed to taking each particular map and really kind of breaking it down, because I don't think that's necessarily required. I think we're all going to be playing and learning these missions as we go. So, what is this? Great question. No, sorry. Critical Ops Pack. It has been very difficult to get a hold of. However, most people seem to agree that it's probably the way to play the game going forwards. There you go. So, you need to get your hands on it, but it's essentially unhandable gettable. So how do you get it? Well, there is a slight benefit now. In the past, you kind of needed a deck of TacOps. The reason you needed the deck of TacOps is because, well, it was easier to play with the deck of TacOps, is that you shuffled the deck to pick your cards. That is no longer the default way to play this game. Instead, you take your archetype and you just pick. You just pick the ones you want. Ta-da! Easy peasy lemon stew. There you go. So, with that said, without the need to do a physical action before picking your TacOps, it's pretty easy, I can't lie, to find out what these TacOps are. Where could you find that? There are many ways. I've done a video where you can see them. Maybe Waha Zedia, if you can think of something that rhymes with that, might hold them soon. And absolutely crazily, somebody, like the same day they went up, somebody put out an app. I think it's on Android, an app where you could just look at them all. madness. So, you know, there are many ways to find out what these are. And then just write down the 3 you want and say those are your TacOps. There you go. Easy peasy. That's my tip from me to you. Now, with that said, I do believe, you know, in purchasing for games that you want to support and want to continue and see flourish. So I'm not saying don't go and buy these, but, you know, if you can't get them, what can you do, you know? Okay, right, let's power through. For those of you unaware, on Into the Dark, some of these TacOps and some of the old TacOps from the old pack were unallowed. They say, you know, because they were too easy to score, because they just essentially didn't work with a board that was all heavy terrain. Here we now have 2 new ones: Seize Access Point and Secure Unexplored Rooms. One for security and one for recon. I actually quite like both of these. There you go. I'm not going to read them out to you because you can read them right here. They're free for you. It's cool. I suppose the only thing to keep in mind with Secure Unexplored Rooms is that this is actually, I think this is almost an auto take. If you're taking recon, there are so, like, I don't know when you wouldn't do this. Yeah. It seems to me to be like the easiest thing to score. There are 2 caveats. One is you cannot secure it if the room that you're moving into shares an access point, a door, with your drop zone. And is that it? There's another one. I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. And if we scroll down, we will see why. So these are all of the maps. I'm not going to go over all of the maps. I just want to very quickly give you a little hint. Secure unexplored rooms, you got to move into a room. Looking at conduit, we see these rooms, right? Ah, that's a room, that's a room, that's a room, that's a room. This is also a room. This entire back thing. Once you have moved through the access point, you have entered this new area. This is a whole room for you to score. Go to the next one. You're blue, right? So you're starting up here. Now, you cannot claim this because it shares an access point with your drop zone. Cool. This is a room. This is a room. This is a room. That one's a little bit harder to score. But if we continue down, here. This is room. This is room. This is room. You get it. You get it, okay? Cool stuff. In general, I think it's pretty much an auto take if you can take recon. I don't know when you wouldn't be scoring it, frankly. Or if you're not scoring it, I don't know what else, you're probably losing anyway. So, yeah. Okay, right. Other thing I want to point out, kind of just talking on the maps here, is that, you know, what's this going to do? What effect is this going to have? Don't forget that this is the competitive version of the game, essentially, this new Critical Ops pack. As such, we have 5 maps. Within these 5 maps, I think, so for those of you that haven't really looked, the old, you know, Into the Dark, which just released, has many missions where there are only 4 objectives, or there are missions where there are, you know, 6 objectives, but some of them go away, and you're left with 1 or 2 by the end of the mission, right? All of these have 6 objectives. What does that do to the game? 2 things. Firstly, all of these have 6 objectives. Secondly, if we look at 2 channels is a great example. This is a huge bit of open space, okay? Absolutely massive. And in general, there are larger parts of open space on most of these boards. Not all of them, but some of them. But if we take this is a perfect example for it. So if we look at this, and then we look at this. This door, we know, is roughly 8 inches. Because each tile is 4 inches wide, right? If you're on one side, let's say just here at B3, and an enemy opens a door here at B3, that's a charge. You can make that charge, okay? This means that in the previous Into the Dark maps, it's very easy for it to become very melee dominated. Because as soon as somebody opens a door, you tend to be able to charge them. So melee quite dominant. Now that's not a bad thing. It's just a change to the game. Okay, I'm not, you know, attaching any sort of positive or negative to that. Cool. However, now that we have some slightly more open boards here, 2, 4, they are going to perhaps reopen just how viable an all-shooting team is. Cool, that's not an issue. That's okay as well. It seemed for a little bit that perhaps melee dominated a little bit more on Into the Dark and shooting dominated a little bit more on open, but it's not like wildly imbalanced. It's just easy ways to move up the board and get charges, or easy ways to hang back, find that non-reciprocal shooting point, and bang it like you're banging somebody's. I'm gonna stop that. Right? Bang it like you bang the drum, if you will. A wall bang is what we would term it in Rainbow Six Siege. If you want to wall bang someone, let's go with that. So that means that we're going to be seeing a slight resurgence of shooting focused teams at longer ranges. Not hugely. I'm more thinking if I'm honest, the way I'm viewing it is it's going to be a nerf to melee teams as opposed to a buff to shooting teams. That's the way I'm currently viewing it. The other thing to keep in mind is that there are now 6 objectives in every map. And the way Into the Dark works is that in general there's quite a lot of heavy terrain with very limited number of access points or ways to get to other places. Or if you want to think of it in kind of MOBA type way, there are very few ways to cross to other lanes without draining like 2 or 3 turns to get there, sort of thing. So I think this is going to be a buff to Horde teams. Horde teams are going to love the fact that there are now so many objectives. Let's see if we can find a good map that kind of proves my point here. I can't remember which one I saw, so this is a great example here. But basically, there was one. I'm not saying it was the only one. It just really stood out to me. It's like, oh dear. Whatever. Let's just go with this one, right? You can kind of look at one of these. Which one was it? This is so frustrating. Let's go with this one. Sure, why not? So you can kind of look at this and say, oh, you know what? So you set up your guys into lanes. If you're an intercession team, you go like 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, right? Cool. But actually, going round this way on Vault, it seems to be pretty tough. You've got quite a long way to go. So if you are an intercession team, you might set up your 2, your 2, your 2, and then the opponent can say, you know what? I've decided I think I'm going to leave my dudes over here. I'm going to give you those 2, and I'm going to take these 4, right? Suddenly, as an elite team, you're going to struggle a little bit to react to that. Or perhaps more likely, the Horde team is going to leave just 1 or 2 dudes to match your 1 or 2 intercession team, just to hold them up. So you still have to go there as the elite team. You can't completely collapse the flank. But actually, the Horde team doesn't care that they gave up 2 dudes to just stand around here and make sure that you can't leave a quarter of your team, right? There you go. Who knows? Anyway, so I just think it's going to be a little bit of a buff to Horde teams and shooting teams. And that's going to be the general effect of this. That's my take. Perhaps I'm wrong. I haven't had a huge amount of time to really kind of absorb it correctly, perhaps. There you go. Okay, and with that said, what is Kill Team Open? Kill Team Open is a tournament that takes place in Baltimore. You might be asking where is Baltimore, and you may have heard some disparaging comments from others. Not me. I would never do that in previous videos. It's not my style. Turns out it's quite close to New York. Now that's a name you've probably heard, unlike Baltimore. It's about a 4-hour drive from New York, I believe. So actually suddenly a little bit more appealing to those of us that aren't natives and are considering going there and trying to figure out how to make that work financially and like time, Anyway, so with that in mind, it's basically, who knows, right? Last year it was the biggest tournament, definitely in the USA, maybe in the world, but let's just say USA. This year, it's just literally minutes ago sold 60% of its tickets, and it's a 100-person tournament. So 60 gone, 40 left. That is a great number of sales, because certainly from last year, the guys found out that actually most of the people bought their tickets like 2 months, but after Christmas, because everybody kind of holds back, says, okay, right, January, right, we'll plan out the year, okay, Kill Team Open. And so the fact that they've already sold 60%, really good stuff. But of course, as you already know from the beginning of this video, that VIP ticket gives you access already. And all you have to do is leave a comment. Madness. Wouldn't you say madness? Yes, it is. Along with a bunch of other stuff like, well, for some reason, the thing that jumps, you get a swag bag, obviously. Who doesn't? Everybody, apart from you. But it also allows you to have a little sit-down meal with the, I was going to say manufacturers, with the founders of the Kill Team Open, which is pretty cool. I've got to say, they're a bunch of very industrious chaps. So that's pretty cool in and of itself. Now, I would recommend doing this mainly because it's free. I'm a big fan of free stuff, so go ahead and do that. Kill Team Open is going to be a really exciting thing. If you're aware of Battle Brothers Tabletop, he's hosting and running the narrative tournament. But I, as you know, the ultimate competitive gamer that I am giving away the competitive VIP package, which is the 100-player tournament. So keep that in mind, chaps. This is a convention, not just a tournament. There's a whole load of stuff here. It's not just one event. No, it's one event. Not just one tournament. There are multiple tournaments. There's the narrative. I think there's a bunch of painting stuff going on. Obviously, I'm a master hobbyist myself. I don't need to attend those. I don't slap chop. It's not my vibe. I might chop slap. But, that's me inventing that term. Not based on anything else. So consider that, right? Not my vibe, but I know a lot of people like that. Airbrush. More like air mush. This is scripted. Can you, this is scripted. It's not. There's nothing there. I'm pointing to nothing. I'm very funny. Anyway, you should go and do it. Cool. There you go. Leave a comment saying whatever it was I said, and that will enter you into whatever this is. Excellent. There is one more thing I have to say though, and as I've kind of said that, I have to say that if you made it to the end of the video, that's a big triple hello. Wow. That's right. Everybody that makes it to the end of the video gets a triple hello. What a bevy of goodness we have here in the world today. Okay. All right. Can you tell I lost the plot like 5 minutes ago? It's very late. I'm very tired. I do apologize. But on a more serious note, man, I really want to go to KTO. I also want to go to LVO. I really want to hit those things. For whatever reason, I'm on a real tournament kick. Let's get going, So, I cannot yet confirm KTO, and the reason for that, let me tell you, because there's only like 3 people left at the end of this video. The reason for that is that I've reached out to Play on Tabletop, because if I'm going to America, let's reach out to everybody. Who can I collab with, right? And I'm waiting for them to get back to me, because of course I want to link up times. I'd hate to book a ticket and for them to say, oh, no, we can't do that day. You have to stay another day, because then I can't do that, right? So I'm waiting to hear from them. Once they give me the green light, I'm hoping that will tie up nicely with KTO or LVO, but, presumably KTO. And we can really do some really cool stuff. And of course, I want to meet all of the other American guys from over there that I met in 2019, thanks to, 2018? No, 2019, when I went to LVO over there. And I want to meet them all again. And I want to meet a bunch of people for the first time. And I want to just go ham on Kill Team this year. I'm genuinely really excited to do that. With that said, I hope that if I do go, I'll see you there. That's certainly my hope. With that said, I will be presumably looking to find ways to do that. Don't know how. However, check back on at some point between Christmas and New Year's. Make sure you're checking if you ever see a comment from me. That is going to be me reaching out and contacting you for contact details, so that I can make sure that you get your VIP ticket, assuming you've left a comment. Okay, all right. Thanks, guys. have a good day. I'm going to stop rambling. This was a 5-minute video that became 20 minutes. Classic glass half dead. Alright, bye everybody. Sleep well.